Joe keeps moving, so do I.
Leave it up.
Revisit that next week.
Outstanding.
Hi, how are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
Good, good, good.
Okay, guys, we just returned from executive session, so we're now in an open session. And I'm gonna ask everybody to please rise for a few seconds. We lost several members of our community.
You guys are still muted.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, sorry, we forgot to have Steve.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought you were.
He's not ready.
Have a seat, guys.
Good trial run, everybody. Nice work. Okay, you guys are on.
Stand up again.
As I was saying, we have just returned from executive session. We're now in an open session. We've already done the Pledge of Allegiance, but I'm going to ask everybody to please stand for a moment to acknowledge the people that we have lost this week, our friends and neighbors. They were Desiree Darrows, Sandra Borello, Francis DaCosta, Elizabeth Iman, Michael Prendergast, and Savannah Salome. Thank you. So this is a joint meeting with the planning board. You guys have to officially open anything?
Yep. Call a meeting of order. Joint session between the Board of Selectmen and the Planning Board, 1802. I believe we're good.
Okay, thank you. This is a review development impact fee proposal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's this evening is, go ahead. Go ahead, Gary. Gentleman here is going to present his proposal for the
Impact fee.
I'm sorry?
Impact fee.
Impact fee, thank you very much. Please, my agenda, impact fee. Some work that he's done and research the findings he has. So, sir, if you could please.
Oh, I didn't realize I was going to do another presentation. Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Pick a subject, I'll talk about it.
You didn't think you were going to get offended?
No.
Let's talk about NFL football. Go.
Okay. In my fantasy league, I'm 4-0. Okay. Anyway, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I presented the work that I did regarding impact fees to both boards. In a nutshell, I looked at, let me state this, as I started looking, this is well beyond my capability, both legally and from a study perspective, to produce such a product. Very briefly, the purpose was to review the appropriate documentation and discuss with officials and other communities regarding aspects of implementing a development impact fee or linkage fees in Dayton. For those that are watching on TV or will review this, a couple of definitions. An impact fee is a charge imposed by a municipality on new developments, okay, not individuals building homes, but developers, to offset the costs associated with providing public services and infrastructure necessary to accommodate the increased demand generated by that development. In other words, a developer plopping down 10 or 20 or 30 houses has an incremental cost to the police, fire, highway department, etc. And in the past, or even today, those of us that live here, the developer leaves with a pocket full of money, and we absorb those incremental costs until it comes out to one more police cruiser or one more hire for police to patrol those new streets, et cetera, those new development homes. The primary purpose of impact fees is to ensure that new developments contribute their fair share towards the costs associated with increased demand they create. By imposing these fees, municipalities can fund the necessary improvements or expansions of public services such as schools, roads, parks, water, and sewer systems, okay? And again, it's the incremental or the new costs associated with that development. The problem, or the protocol that's required in Massachusetts is legislation is required and approved by the governor. The state allows every municipality to do certain things, to charge certain fees, charge taxes. And this is one of the instances with these impact fees or linkage fees where special legislation is required in the legislature for that specific purpose of imposing an impact fee or allowing the town or the municipality to impose an impact fee. That would be step one. Step two is then a nexus study, which essentially is a professional study that links the incremental cost to the town's specific needs. Once that is completed, then the town has to determine the methodologies by which the impact fee is going to be processed and how it's going to be collected, and more specifically, how it's going to be used. Now, when I said I didn't really have the expertise to do it, it was quite clear in the research that I did that there are legal steps all the way along this process. And I think it would be incumbent, if the boards are going to move forward with this, to have each and every step looked at, number one, by town council. The nexus study be done by a professional organization that's well-versed in this, and then town council again assist with that final step of implementation, because developers are going to, not maybe, are going to fight an impact fee every single step of the way. So if we have legal review, it narrows that doorway that they can come, they being developers, can come through to challenge us. If we don't do it this way to begin with, through attorney and through the legal process, I feel that we would open ourselves to a challenge each time by each and every developer. So that is it in a nutshell. And the documentation of the study I provided to both boards details that a little more. I would suggest that in part of your consideration, if you do decide you'd like to move forward, I would also recommend that perhaps we contact Senator Dooner or Representative Thurber to champion for us in the legislature. You know, to get there, to see if they're give us their blessing before we even spend a nickel. Questions? I mean, that's sort of a real oversight to what I did and what I briefed before.
What kind of fees are you talking about? Not what kind, how much do you think the ballpark?
For which aspect?
Impact fee to the developers? Enough for them to challenge it?
Oh, yeah. I think based upon the limited numbers that were there, so I'm not going to name a town because I'm not sure. One town collected about $3,700, of which per 3-bedroom, 2-bath unit, about $1,700 of that went to the water department. The remainder went into back to the municipality. The lowest number I saw was, I want to say around $1,800 or $1,900. Again, the standard was a 3-bedroom house,
Right.
2-bath, garage, etc.
Do they pay any fees now?
These kinds of fees? No. This
No.
is not a-
So it's just application fees, that's it?
Review fees, yeah, all of that. This would be something completely new.
Right.
I would say they don't pay fees today, with the exception to the town. The exception being that Dyton, water, and sewer are external,
Yeah.
and they do pay fees, pension fees.
Is that to
those
departments?
which in other towns probably get incorporated into this.
Yep.
So in theory, in a sense, they actually, this already exists, but outside
Okay.
of municipality.
And, how many developers are we talking about? 10? 2? Any idea? What's your history has been leading up to this that says, there's enough either on the books or coming down the pipe to implement these fees?
Well, these wouldn't be implemented for anything existing,
Well, obviously.
right? This is moving forward.
Right.
So the intent would be, moving forward would be a way of recuperating the additional services that the town is imposed upon when a new development comes in. What are we forecasting? I don't know.
There's really no
We've
way
done
to,
two.
there's no way to know.
You have, what?
We have 2 on the books right now
Right.
this
Okay.
year.
But the timeline for getting something like this in place is
Oh, it's a couple
well
of years.
beyond this. I was thinking
Yeah.
5 years, but
5 years?
if we were to go forward with it, the first thing we have to do is
Right.
find out how we're gonna pay for this.
Yep.
And then look at, try to figure out how we get with the legislation and also get the Nexus study funded. So there's multiple steps that come into play with this. And I think when you looked at Nexus studies, I mean, there's a big range, but I thought it was like 80K was the.
Yeah, somewhere between the numbers I saw were for towns, small town like $75,000-$80,000, up to a large city, which could run over $1 million. But I don't think we fall in that
And I
category.
think we're sub 100,000, and it would be, and then you gotta look at what is the juice worth the squeeze, or what's the return on investment on this?
Yeah.
And so we're going back and forth to figure out what that could really turn into. And one big development, we could recoup all that, depending on the size of the development, but really, I think at least we need a couple big developments before we broke even, and from that point forward, it would be a positive side.
Yeah.
If I may, my recommendation, and again, I have no vested interest in any of this except as a taxpayer, would be to at least try to go to the legislature and request the legislation that would allow us to do that.
Yeah.
Because until we're successful with that effort, the rest can't move forward. It just can't happen.
Through the chair, if I may, just to give my my experience with impact fees, and I know Mr. Perry and I have talked in here at the board. I don't think the home rule petition is going to be very costly. So to allow the town to place impact fees, I think, as was expressed, the Nexus study is going to be expensive. You want it done thoroughly, because from that you extrapolate the associated fees, and on what size development do you start charging fees. What Mr. Perry had placed with the Cape Cod Commission, which I'm familiar with you have to look at developments of like 30 houses or more. Is that something that we think is going to occur in Dayton? And I know personally I've dealt with the development that was 30 houses or more, and I believe the impact fees associated were like $500,000. But the Nexus fee sort of extrapolates where do those fees go to, and they're very specific. And some of those fees would go towards like an affordable housing trust. Some of them would go to the DPW. So they're very specific in where they go. Also, a reminder, if we look at large developments which may come down the pike, generally speaking, 40Bs are exempt from impact fees. So if we think that the next large development is going to be 40B, if we go through all this, it may not be it may not be worth it. So that's, you know, my familiarity with it, what I've dealt with, so just to give you sort of sense.
And the nexus, I'm sorry?
What is your threshold? 10, 30 houses, nothing?
Nothing, I didn't, you know, I just looked at development, whatever would be defined as a development. I might also add that the Nexus study gives an absolute solid audit trail, okay? You're not guessing about it. This would be done by a firm or firms that are well-versed in this, have been tested in this. And again, please, I did the study. I mean, I have no vested interest in
Well,
this.
you asked, we talked about this a year ago.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a great idea back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, my recommendation to both boards at this time would be, and I think Ralph pointed out, it would be minimal cost to try to move forward with the home rule petition, because no other switches are flipped until that one is successful.
Nicole, do you have any questions at this time?
No, they answered it for me.
Okay. Mark?
I want to thank the planning board and Mr. Perry for being here tonight. It's nice to see some progress made on impact fees, and nice to see everyone here. I still like the idea of impact fees with everything I've heard, and I agree that I hope that we can move forward, but that's kind of why I asked for everyone to be in the same room, because if we weren't all, at least kind of wanted to see if we had support, because if we're not supportive, then there'd be no reason, I guess, to move on if both boards didn't support it. But I agree. I think with what Mr. Vataco said and Mr. Perry, a home rule petition would probably be a minimal impact, a minimal cost just to get started, and that would be the first step to this. And but what I'm not totally clear on is, would we go to town council? And I think Matt Costa would be well equipped for it, but planning board, you have your own council, correct? So that's, I guess, what I'm not sure of. Who would be the most appropriate person to weigh in on a home rule petition?
Again, through the chair, I would surmise that it's town council, because it's a home rule petition for the town of Dayton. So, so we would, you know, it would be through Gay and Gay, yeah.
And special legislation wouldn't go through planning, right? It would go to town meeting?
Town meeting, yeah.
Okay.
So this is something we could keep on the front burner for annual town meeting.
Right.
That's,
But all of those developers would of course be going through you, and you guys would be kind of administering the special legislation. Is the planning board supportive of the idea?
We can go through, I mean, I know I'm supportive of it. I think the most part are.
Awesome, great.
What we need to do is to make sure that we can afford to spend
Right.
that kind of money.
Well, the return is worth the effort that we're gonna put into it.
It
It's-
depends, it depends.
If we get approved,
Then we're screwed.
yeah.
Right.
Right.
You know, being for the Nexus study.
Again, through the chair, I think if we want to implement the impact studies, and then I'll do some more research as, you know, leading up to it. Does the special, getting special legislation require us within a certain time frame to do an impact study? Like I said, I think do a Nexus study. I don't think it does, but I will do my research on it. But again, to put forward special legislation, I don't think it's, you know, it's that costly. But I'll come up with the numbers for that. Again, the Nexus study is costly, and then through that, as Mr. Perry says, you really need a defined audit trail. So when someone comes in with a development of 10 houses, 15 houses, or whatever, they know for every 10th house, it's going to cost me X, and that's, you know, that's pretty much how it's done. Usually, they have. I'm only familiar with it with larger staff, because they crank out, they sort of crank out a report, what's the environment, what's the cultural impact, environmental impact, and everything. There's a finding and an associated fee with it. So we just got to figure out how to do that, so.
Would that also, be for apartment buildings, if those were ever to be allowed?
Again, I think that could be if there was going to be a statement of work for the Nexus study. That could be included in that. It's just, again, I don't mean to beat a point to death, but it's all those little incremental costs, and for the sake of argument, let's use the number 5 or 10 houses for development. Well, that's single units, correct. That's more roadway to plow and repair. That's another police patrol, or more miles to patrol. And ultimately, those incremental costs add up to one more patrol, one more or two more officers, one more supporting unit for fire, et cetera, et cetera. And I lived a number of years ago in Frederick, Maryland, and they had a plan like this, where they had the incremental costs all figured out. They had a Nexus study done, and believe me, there was a great deal of development going on there, and that included single-family townhouses and apartments. Okay, and they collected that first-time cost from the developer, and of course the developer passed that along to people buying the units. But one of the points being, as we emphasized here, all of us that live here, every time a developer comes into town and builds X number of units, we pay that incremental cost again and again and again, and the contractor, or the developer leaves with a few more bucks in his pocket. Those bucks ought to stay here. That's my feeling.
That's why I had asked what you envision for the future, because is there gonna be a run on this once the word gets out that Dayton is going to be possibly charging these fees? So let's get it developed now. Like you just said, it's only gonna be passed to the homeowner. So $500,000 to a developer is just split among the houses that person builds. That's why I questioned, what kind of litigation would there be when, I might have to pay up front the $500,000 or whatever step along the way, but the homeowner is eventually gonna give me $3,000 extra per house. So why should they spend money on litigation that it's not gonna cost them anything in the end?
Especially if it's very simple, developers will likely pass it on to the owner.
Right.
So it's not, it's not going to the bottom line.
I will say that, I know Mr. Perry did a lot of work on this, and I also had made a call. Now, this is to the city of Chelmsford, very different from Dayton.
Sure.
But they have an economic development, and they have this in place, linkage fees, they've implemented it. And his take was that they never balk.
They never what?
They don't balk at the fees at all.
No.
They know they're passing along, they're compliant. Now, obviously, that's not a true statement in every scenario, but he felt it's been very successful
Right.
in Chelmsford. They crafted their linkage fee to be very wide in terms of where the money can go. They can go to capital projects, they can go to schools, parks, et cetera. It's just a laundry list.
Sure.
It's a long laundry list of anything and anything they want to spend it on, basically, they have permission to do.
And it has to be, if I may, the monies collected cannot be used for items that currently exist.
Yep.
They have to be used for those things that must be done as a result of the new development or developments coming into the municipality, okay? So you can't say, well, we'll take this money and we'll do something, we'll add new offices in the school building.
Yeah.
No, it would be we need 5 new classrooms because of this development. It has to be as a direct result of the impact of the development.
So address your question before about what's to stop somebody from going to litigation. I think with any change, there's going to be growing pains.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot
with the average price to go home here in Dayton, $3,000, $4,000 more is a drop in the bucket, I think.
Absolutely.
But I'm all for it. I don't know how you guys feel, but I think it's an excellent idea. I appreciate the work that you've done. Like I said, I know we talked about a year ago
Yeah.
when your idea first came up, but rather be proactive than reactive with this. So for me, I think it's great.
I have a question. Is there a possibility that maybe grants out there that could help us out with?
I don't know. I haven't heard of any, but I haven't looked. So if there is, we'll certainly take advantage of it. But if anything, it'd help offset the study, which seems to be the biggest chunk of this. Ralph can
I think first step, let me look at the special legislation.
Right,
Let's
that-
look at that
Yeah, you
road,
have
what
to-
that's gonna cost that.
baby steps.
Yeah.
Be successful there with that.
Yeah, and then once, once we have that in place, we should have a good lead-up time, for targeting annual town meeting.
Again, I really believe we should contact Senator Dooner and Representative to say, hey, we've got this great idea. Would you be supportive of it? Because they have to carry that, they have to support and carry that legislation through the legislature.
Well, they've been very supportive of everything we've done up until now, like it, not that it's a negative there, but I don't see any reason why they wouldn't support it. They've asked me constantly, what can we do for your town?
Write a check.
Well, that's what I'd like to say.
Okay.
Logistically, while we have both boards here, I feel like it would make sense, I don't know how everyone else feels, we'll get a first draft, I'm sure, from Attorney Costa, at some point. It would make sense for the planning board, I think, to review it first. Once they're happy with it, then it would come to us.
Sure.
And then, so I feel like it would make sense, even though it's town council, for
No,
the planning board to weigh in
we'll work
first.
with the planning office.
Okay. Does that work for everyone? Okay, awesome, thank you. This is great.
And ladies.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We have a review, discuss, and act recommendation to appoint Daniel Higgins to the snowboard committee, but that's not you guys, so you can adjourn.
Alright, so, make a motion to adjourn the joint session with the Board of Selectmen and the Planning Board. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good job. This is a review, discuss, and act recommendation to appoint Daniel Higgins to the stormwater committee.
Great job.
I'll make that motion.
Sure.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel.
Congratulations.
Okay, on to announcements. The first one is cancer.
That makes it easy. The Dayton Lions Club Food Bank will be held next on Saturday, October 18th, located at Town Hall in the lower level. The Friends of the Dayton Public Library will have their third annual golf tournament. It will take place on Sunday, October 5th, at the Swansea Country Club, 299 Mark Street, Swansea. For registration, you can contact Kevin Smith at 508-509-2713 or reviveDaytonParks@gmail.com. On Saturday, October 25th, 2025, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., the Drug Enforcement Administration will coordinate with the Dayton Police Department for a one-day prescription drug take-back event to remove potentially dangerous controlled substances from the home. This is an opportunity for the public to surrender pharmaceuticals, controlled substances, and other medication to law enforcement for destruction.
Through the chair, if, on a personal note, I just want to talk about the one-day prescription drug take-back, how important that is, because, people, they just have leftover medications, they throw them out or flush them down the toilet. That is not the proper way to dispose of medications. This is the way to do it. If I can impress upon everybody, if they have medication, expired medication that they don't need, medication that was once a loved one's who's not with them anymore, please take it to the take-back. They know what they're doing, they'll dispose of it properly. Thank you for that.
Before, how successful is it? Or has it been?
It usually is. A lot of towns have wind up having like a drug take back box.
Okay.
Once there was a lot of grants for that, but it usually is pretty successful because people don't.
Yeah.
People don't. They stuck with a like a plastic bag full of whatever, and I said, and what do I do with it? So at least this gives people an opportunity to take it to the police station. No questions asked, just
Yeah, just drop it off.
drop it off.
On to public input, unless, did you have anything that you want to add?
Oh,
The announcements?
nope.
Public input, this is the first of two, is there any at this time from anybody? Yes, Nancy?
Nancy Goulart, 631 Gray Terrace, North Dayton. I've received a number of phone calls and emails from people who have told me about stuff that's on the internet or Facebook or somewhere relative to the situation, the dam on Elm Street. And so I took the time to research. This is based on historical documents, the map hanging on that wall, actual experience
Thank you.
I had as a selectman in dealing with
Thank you, Nancy.
the dam and other projects that involved AstraZeneca. Also involved with the discussion was Mr. Fournette, who's here tonight, and Tom Ferry, because both of them, is it right if I give these out? to the
Sure,
public?
absolutely.
Worked with me on various projects for the town to acquire property.
Right,
So if it's okay, I would like to read this into the record. It won't take that long.
sure.
Arnold Hoffman and Company /ICI /AstraZeneca Reservoir on Elm Street, Dayton, Mass. What follows is an outline of why and how the reservoir that was created to provide fresh, clean water to Arnold Hoffman and Company, AH&C, for manufacturing purposes came about. The body of water has been referred to as Muddy Cove Pond, Elm Street Dam Pond, the Dam, and so on over many years. Muddy Cove is located east of the old railroad bed that runs along County Street, bounded by Muddy Cove Lane on the south, and connects to the Taunton River at the Pleasant Street Bridge. The Sally Richmond Brook, AKA Richmond Brook, flows under Elm Street through the former Arnold Hoffman and Company site and eventually into Muddy Cove. It is not a pond, it is a reservoir which is defined as a small body of still water formed naturally or by hollowing or embanking, a large natural or artificial lake used as a source of water supply. A dam is the physical structure, like a wall that blocks water, while a reservoir is the artificial lake or body of water that forms behind the dam when it stores water. Think of the dam as the container and the reservoir as the contents within that container. It is important to distinguish the difference between a pond and a reservoir because of the purpose each serves. In approximately 1953, Arnold Hoffman and Company had the Sally Richmond Brook dammed to create a clean water supply for its manufacturing operation on Main Street. The brook did not supply enough water, so a pipeline was constructed from the Segregansett River on Brook Street, and water was pumped to the reservoir. When the Dayton Water District was formed and able to provide a clean water source, the use of the reservoir decreased. Eventually, water from the Segregansett River was not needed. The pipe is still there. Over the years, although the property is privately owned, residents have enjoyed fishing, canoeing, sledding, and skating. The reservoir is estimated to be approximately 3 feet deep, relatively shallow, except near the dam spillway. Photos were taken when the water level was lowered so the town could replace a culvert on Main Street. The photos show a large area of mud flats with a meandering stream flowing through it. For almost 35 years, I lived at 372 Main Street across from the plant. It was not AstraZeneca, AZ, who was responsible for the multicolored ice and water seen in Muddy Cove or who discharged noxious chemicals into the air. AstraZeneca has been a good neighbor to the town. AstraZeneca was asked to donate land adjacent to the old library on Main Street for parking. They did. AstraZeneca was asked for an easement for a pipeline to manage the flow of water from an area east of Elm Street and north of Main Street that crossed Main Street onto AstraZeneca property towards County Street and into the drainage system. They donated the easement and $60,000 to help pay for materials for the project. The green strip of grass that is on the west side of County Street, just south of the Main Street intersection, contains that pipeline. AstraZeneca offered 3 lots on the north side of Main Street, the reservoir and dam, to the town. The Selectmen met with Beth Talbot from the state, who was involved with projects involving dam repairs and removal. She advised the Selectmen that the condition of the dam is fair and has been for years. The town had the AstraZeneca properties tested by Weston and Sampson, and all came back clean. The work was paid for by a grant. The Board of Selectmen, Jack Taylor, Nancy Goulart, and Brett Zagrafis, placed an article on the town meeting warrant to accept the 3 lots, which passed. In November 2020, a memo was sent to Charles Elmendorf at AstraZeneca with a proposal outlining conditions under which the town could accept the gift of the land and reservoir to be used for recreation. The town was required to prepare a municipal vulnerability plan, MVP, and hazard mitigation plan, HMP. The town worked with Serpent and Bill Gunther from Fussett O'Neill to conduct workshops and develop the plans. The dam and reservoir are part of the plans. It was recognized as a source of clean water for the town. Before anything is done to change the status of the dam, AstraZeneca should respond to the proposal from the town. We were advised at a selectmen's meeting that Charles Elmendorf has retired, so it behooves someone at AstraZeneca to get back to the town regarding this proposal. The governor recently announced that $11 million has been earmarked for dam repairs and removal. The dam on Elm Street was not constructed as a power source, but as a structure to store clean water. It is the only large freshwater body that is readily accessible to the public, and its value as a recreational facility should be recognized. The property is still privately owned. However, it is not posted no trespassing, is not fenced, and continues to allow fishing and other recreational activities. The town should follow up on the funding available for dam repairs and removal before any work is permitted at the site. Information for this report includes discussions with Tom Ferry and Bill Frenette, who were involved with the recent town acquisitions. Respectfully submitted, Nancy J. Goulart, October 1st, 2025. I hope that answers a lot of questions, clears up some of the misinformation that's out there, and provides a background on thought from the board and residents about this property. I believe they've asked for permission to lower the level of water in the pond, the reservoir again. The fact that it was recognized as clean water certainly dispels some of the misinformation about the status of the pond. It was tested, it came back clean. And as a side note, when I mentioned the water supply from the Segregansett River, when the bridge was replaced on Brook Street, I was involved with land taking and easements. And that's when I found out that Montop from Somerset owned the property. Took me a while to find out who the parent company was, but it turned out to be NRG, the big energy conglomerate. And I contacted someone about the easement, and that land was offered, the whole bit, the lots, the land, and the Brook Street property to the town. But my fellow selectmen at the time did not see the value in acquiring Brook Street, and so everything was just forgotten. Yet we continued to work with AZ to get the easement for the drainage line that Tommy's department put in. It was sometime after we acquired Council Oak 2 that I happened to be talking with Bill and Tommy. And when I said, it's too bad we didn't acquire the property on Brook Street, Bill says, I've been trying to get it for 40 years. That relates back to this court case when Dayton sued Somerset over water rights to the Segregansett River. The property was owned by Montauk. Dayton lost the case. The deed clearly states that the town of Somerset has the right to withdraw 1,600,000 gallons per day from the river. And Montauk reserved the right to withdraw 1,600,000 gallons of water per day, 600,000 gallons to be diverted to its plant in Somerset, and 1 million gallons per day for use at Arnold Hoffman and Company. So obviously, Montauk was selling water to Arnold Hoffman. So that's why it didn't need, if you will, the reservoir and the backup. The pipe is still in the bank because when we did a site visit, Tom, Bill, and I, he pointed it out to me. I took pictures up there. There's no pump there, but that water supply connection is still there. And it actually, we believe, it runs through the backland that the town has acquired over a period of purchases to get down to there. Because with the purchase of the land on Brook Street and the western half of the river, you can walk from Brook Street to Elm Street on town-owned land. It's land off of, obviously, Elm Street, but it's all back there. When the town acquired the Brook Street property and the water rights to the river, the latest deed that was generated when that happened clearly indicates that Somerset still has its right of 1,600,000 gallons. That's clear in the deed. There's even an easement in there to make sure that with Dayton acquiring it, nothing happens to the easement the power company has, because a little bit of that property that we own has the high tension lines. Okay. And as the successors assigns to the property from Montauk, that other 1,600,000 gallons in water rights belongs to the town of Dayton. Okay? But all of this came about through different projects over different times and work that I was involved with both Bill and Tom Ferry as different projects evolved and we needed land taking and all those kinds of things. But there's a lot more to this, but I think there's enough here for people to stop and think that when they hear some of this stuff about dirty water being pumped up to the pond and sent down to the, it doesn't make any sense. And pipes sticking out here or there, that wasn't to pump dirty water. That's all deeded water rights, which the town now owns. So I just wanted to mention that because hopefully the people who have been emailing and talking to me here and there understand there's more to this. And it's really something that the town has, should follow up on. Yeah. But the other thing I will mention, on each of the projects that we had, the first one was the parking for the library. We dealt with an individual. When it was time to talk to AstraZeneca about the pipeline, the easement, it was somebody else. When it was time to talk about, we separated the dam and the pond from the 3 lots on Main Street. It was another person. And AstraZeneca is such a large company, no one person seems to handle all of this stuff. And when Mr. Elmendorf talked about, this is what you have to do, and this is what's required, and we require this, bless you. I said, we know that. We did the same thing when you gave us the other projects. They were not aware, Mr. Elmendorf was not aware that AstraZeneca had already given us parking, given us an easement, and contributed $60,000 to help for materials with the project. So I'm thinking with Mr. Elmendorf's retirement, maybe the ball got dropped and somebody just says, we got an engineer working on the cleanup, let's just take it down. But I hope in future discussions, somebody takes a look at this.
Sure.
It's factual, and I can probably find a lot more stuff, but this is all I could put together on short notice.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Nancy.
This is very informative.
And the reference to the Sally Richmond Brook, as I've said before, is on that map.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else at this time? Yes, sir.
How are you?
Doing great, and yourself?
Great, thanks. Tom DeLucci, 2086 Palmer Street, and if I may, would you indulge me, because to paraphrase George Washington, my eyes have grown old in the service of this country, and not only that, but the statins are taking a real toll on my memory and giving me Joe Biden brain. But I'd just like to, one other thing I'd like to add to what Mrs. Goulart was saying. She's right, that's a great source of water, and that's something that should be explored with the water department as well, because an above-ground water source is less likely to contain PFAS, even though the Trump administration has, allowed a little bit more PFAS to be in there, in the water supply. It's a really arcane conversation I don't want to get into. There's less of it in above-ground water sources. These are the forever chemicals that, can cause cancers and so forth. So back to this. Recently, some members of the Dayton GOP, as well as the community at large, felt moved to hold a vigil in honor of Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk. As the event was announced, the usual loathsome keyboard warriors began their campaign of disinformation and ad hominem attacks on those holding the vigil. We were accused of needing white hoods, insinuating that we were racist. Nothing could have been further from the truth. As a matter of fact, the Ku Klux Klan was founded by Democrats to carry out racist terror campaigns against their former slaves in the recently liberated South. Other internet trolls have made a slew of phone calls to town hall, pestering otherwise busy town employees with their plaintive caterwauling. They can't do that, they scream. They need a permit. This in spite of the fact that on June 6, 2020, at the height of the alleged pandemic, the very same leftist gutter snipes held a Black Lives Matter rally on the exact same spot. To my knowledge, they never pulled a permit for that either. The top 3 police officers even knelt in submission to the mob gathered that afternoon. How could these same officers be asked to enforce the law against us? We ultimately had a crowd of approximately 80 people who were respectful. We were quiet, we were not disruptive, and we were peaceful. As far as the Trump trailer being on site, we had the permission of the landowner across the street to put the trailer on his property. Due to a personal matter, however, the vendor in question had to leave prior to setting up. Know this moving forward. In spite of the unconstitutional town bylaw stating that we need a permit to exercise our First Amendment rights, I will never ask the permission of the state or the town to express myself. Nor will I tolerate the enforcement of that unjust law against anyone else. When you have to ask permission to exercise your rights, they are no longer rights. They're privileges to be granted or taken away by the whims of toady little bureaucrats in government. The Bill of Rights was written to protect those rights from government encroachment. Think of it as a chain on a vicious dog. 40 years ago, I swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution when I enlisted in the Army. That oath never expired. It carried with it the responsibility of having to read the Constitution. I suggest that everyone do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
Yes,
If I may,
sure.
I'm not gonna argue with him. I want to clarify something. I was a member of the Board of Selectmen when the event he's talking about took place. There was no permit issued. They were told they could have, they could use the public sidewalk in front of Town Hall, you know, that's lower than the wall, because in effect, it was state property. They were allowed to be there. I know there was an overflow crowd, and some people ended up over the stone wall on Town Hall property. But absolutely, there was no permit. They also wanted to fly a, I'm trying to think, the multicolored flag. That was denied. There were police officers around, but it wasn't a matter of, I'll say, enforcement or corralling anybody. And I'm only referring to that particular event because I was involved in it. And the permit was not issued simply because it wasn't clear exactly what was intended, the extent of it, the size of the crowd, and everything else. They were not told, no, you can't. They were told, again, specific place, the sidewalk. I agree. I think we all agree that freedom of speech and our constitutional rights are important, and we didn't violate any of them that day. Thank you.
Mr. Fournette, do you have anything you want to add to that?
You certainly do.
I'm your stream and wetland guy. The stream, I know every stream in the town of Dayton.
Just 1 second, just, can you give your name, I'll get your name.
Oh,
your
I Bill
address.
Fournette, I live on Hart Street
Sure.
in Dayton for, I don't know, 65 years or
Yeah,
so.
that's all?
You're new, huh?
Huh?
You're new to town?
Yeah. But, I do, I'm a wetland freak. I've been turning over rocks and creeks since I was 6 years old. So it's been over 80 years since I've been I know wetlands, I know streams, I know swamps, and I know your aquifer. And I know in the town of Dayton, I know there are places, and the aquifer as well feeds our wells. We have good wells in Dayton, thank God. But if somebody's gonna offer you water, clean water, I don't care if it's a bathtub size, just a tub of clean water, take it, please. Zeneca wants to give you that pond. Please do some research. Somebody do some research and get on this thing and take it before a German company buys Zeneca, and then they won't know who Dayton is or the dam on the reservoir. Jesus. There's a great big swamp that borders William Street and Hart Street. It sits right in the middle of that thing, and it drains. It drains in a northerly direction, goes underneath Hart Street, runs through the woods, crosses a couple of hay fields, then it hooks out onto Main Street, makes a loop. There's no place on that stream, on that drainage area, that can get contaminated. When that water hits that pond, behind that dam, it's really clean water. And if somebody's gonna offer that to you, please, take it. I don't know, I'm not a used car salesman like my buddy over there against the wall. So, and I can't negotiate a damn thing. But this is a really valuable piece of property. How much did you pay for that bottle of water right there?
Well, I got a free beer refill, but probably $1.
30 years ago, you never saw any water for sale like that. Water is the most valuable element on this whole planet. Somebody wants to give you some water. Come on. Let's go. Let's do it. Please, assign somebody. If one of you guys take it and are successful, your election results for the next 20 years will be set.
You gotta promise
matter
something
what.
we want, that
No matter what. But it's the cleanest stream in Dayton that fills that pond. I've walked it from the beginning to the end. You can't get too far into that swamp. It's one of the thickest, biggest swamps in Bristol County, and but it just drains. Well, actually, there's another drain on the tower line at the old Rust property, and that's just a spring-fed stream that never dries up, and that joins the creek somewhere near the tower line that crosses. But I wish I was more eloquent. I wish I could get you all to stand up and applaud, because that's one of the most valuable pieces of property in this town of Dayton. And Zeneca wants to give it to us. Please, let's not lose it. Let's get it. Somehow, I can chauffeur people. I can walk people around the swamps. I can do anything like that, but I can't negotiate for that piece of property. We need somebody to do that. Please, don't drop the ball. I don't want to lose that pond.
Sure.
That water supply, clean water. My goodness.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. The Yankees scored two runs in the first inning.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, Yep.
Just to buttress their argument, I think they're right.
Is
But-
this guy gonna help with the pond?
I am gonna help. The town doesn't have a lot of money right now, but Zeneca does. Zeneca's made a fortune since 2020, we know, with the vaccines and so forth that they've had. It strikes me it would be a relatively easy matter to negotiate, some kind of a settlement with them where they pay to repair the dam, because I know the dam is in disrepair, is that right? Mm-hmm. So they pay to repair the dam, and then they kind of hand it to us. I know the move at the state right now with the environmental wackos that are running it is that they want to take down all the dams and bring everything back to its natural condition, but there's a reason that we have dams. There are a lot of good reasons, and number one is a source of fresh water. It's one of the only nice things in town. So like nice recreational areas and so forth. We've got the river and everything, but it's a whole different ball game with the pond. So I would like to see some kind of effort, some kind of headway, some kind of negotiation made with Zeneca to, force their hand and make them fix the dam and just kind of, give it to us in perpetuity. But I understand that would also require a maintenance contract or something like that, so the town would be on the hook for that. I don't know where to go with it, honestly, but I do want the town to have that piece of property. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the table that wants to speak at this time? Okay. Then we're gonna move on to Selectmen's reports. The only thing I wanna say is we had a great time on Saturday, when the library opened. I think they all did an outstanding job. Mark, I know you were there, and, it's something that the town should be very proud of to have, but, that's what I have. Nicole, do you have anything?
No, I don't have anything.
Mark?
I echo your statements. The library and the board of trustees and all that was involved put a lot of thought into the details, all of it, every small detail. And their passion is contagious, and so it's a nice community event, and it's nice to see such a long project come to fruition. So thank you to everyone involved, and something for now and future generations to enjoy.
Sure. Thank you. Town administrator's report.
Thank you. A few things. I now have a free cash certification listed, as you saw, you probably saw about a week or so ago. On the 18th, the town received its free cash certification ending fiscal year '25, so that was almost $2 million, $1.99 million. Just to, as you saw, the town accountant's breakdown of that, one thing we carried $234,000 from the previous year of free cash. We did better than expected in terms of interest rates and excise tax for new vehicles, and a big chunk of money was turned back by the departments. So I want to say that we've been, since the year I've been here, we've been preaching fiscal restraint, and I have to say the departments did that, and they did a significant turn back. $1.9 million is a decent amount of money. Just to put it in perspective, our 5-year average for free cash is $1.8 million. Last year was 1.1. The year prior to that was almost $3 million, and then it was more false towards the average 1.7, 1.8. So next week, we're going to be discussing special town meeting. We're going to use, again, some of that money to address capital costs and to sort of backfill into our stabilization funds, capital stabilization funds, and the rainy day fund. So, my hope, and you're going to have a team meeting. I'd like to bring a significant amount of that money forward toward the at least $1 million towards annual town meeting this year. So at that time, hopefully we could continue to address our capital needs. But again, as we go over a special town meeting, we'll give you the breakdown of those costs. Something else to discuss, I know this was brought up, right now we're looking for a building commissioner. We haven't interviewed yet, but we received 2 promising resumes, but in the short term, we're using other building commissioners and building inspectors. So both are from Seekonk. We're using Jeff for some, and actually his assistant Mike Atunis for another. But because they work for Seekonk, we're going to put forward next week, because we just kind of get Mike on board, so we'll do it all at once as special municipal employees, so they could work, so they're allowed to work in both towns. So we have that coming up. And
We would appoint them too, right, on a
temporary
basis
basis,
or
yeah.
whatever? Okay.
Yeah, so as long as they're interim, so as long as they have it, so just to sort of cover them and cover us. And last but not least, I did some research on Robert's Rules of Orders that you had asked me to do. Only members of the body, if you are allowed to speak in when you do for a motion to discuss to discuss a motion, right? People at town meeting, people come up because at town meeting, the people are members of the body. It's not that it's not allowed. It can be allowed by the chair, and then the chair, you can either do it by vote, or you could sort of get a consent of the board. So if I know this board likes to have public input, it's not generally, it's not allowed, but it is allowed under the discretion of the chair. It could either done by vote or by consensus of the board.
Thank you.
So,
What would you guys like to do on that subject? Do we want to change it at this time, where we just, we can through our vote at the time.
I think not having something set in place, like, there's some times that I think that we're all on board, that possibly we're all teetering on something and we would like to hear.
Right.
We seem to be pretty all together with that, so I think it depends on the situation. Like, I hate to say we're not gonna allow public
Right.
input when potentially
Yep.
one of us could be sitting here, and like we said, it's up to
On
you,
the
Peter.
fence.
If one of
Yeah.
us ask it and you are not comfortable with it, or the other two
Okay.
aren't,
Sure.
what are your thoughts, Mark?
I echo what you said.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, I get through, it's easy enough to say, you just turn
It
to
doesn't
your,
happen that often.
yeah, you just turn to, shall we hear from the public? And
Yep.
you guys nod your head? Good.
Okay.
And then it's under discretion of chair, you allow it, but if at some point, you could do what we want to hear, and other members say, no, we've heard enough, then
Yep.
then you don't allow it.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Sure.
Moving on to old business, review, discuss, and act, a vote to approve debt exclusion language for the annual town election ballot.
At the August 27th meeting, the board voted to put the debt exclusion questions on the ballot, and then, at the time, Selectman Pacheco goes and added language at a subsequent meeting. Here's the language. The language is the same language from the last time. It's prescribed. It's prescribed by the state. So this is what we have. I think if I may comment on it, the confusion is that it's called Proposition 2 1/2. Anything outside of the normal taxes is Proposition 2 1/2. I think when people see that, they automatically say override, and I think as we go forward, this might be something we focus on. That might be where the confusion lies. So just something to keep in mind. But this is, again, this is the language that's pretty much prescribed by the state, and which has been sort of approved by the AG last year. So this is where we're at. We just need you, I'm just looking for you to approve it so we could pass it on to the town clerk, who could pass it on to the AG's office for eventual placement on the ballot in April.
I think people are gonna be confused. I wish there was a simpler way to,
I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you, but that's why we
Yeah.
instituted
Yep.
at town meeting. We're in a better place right now, and we could describe, what the vote is, what.
Yep.
So,
we have the time.
Yep.
It's fine, I think we can only do so much, and I
Right.
think that Mark did the research, Mark helped us do more than we did last time, so I mean,
Okay. What do you think, Mark? Sounds good? Okay. Okay, this is a review, obviously, discussion, and then we gotta act on this, please. So can somebody make a motion to either accept it or not make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the language for the Bristol Plymouth Regional Technical School District debt exclusion ballot question and Bristol County Agricultural High School debt exclusion ballot question as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So now that this has been approved, Matt's gonna work on the yes, what a yes and a no vote
Oh.
means?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you mind at our next meeting, under your report, just getting from Matt, when does he anticipate having that for us, just so the public's aware?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Moving on to new business then. Again, these are all gonna be reviews, discuss, and acts. Close the town special, the special town meeting warrant. It's a no-brainer.
I'll make that motion.
7:10 PM.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Facilities request for the annual Dayton's Life Lions Club yard sale. looks like all the information was in, unless I missed something.
I believe they have everything in place, all the insurances in
Yeah,
place.
it's pretty standard with that. So is there a motion to approve?
Just one thing, the
Yeah.
certificate of insurance, they just need to add the town of Dayton as an additional insured for the facilities policy.
Okay.
So I would make a motion to approve the facilities request contingent upon an updated certificate of insurance.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Award of the salt bids. Usually Tom is here to talk about them, but it's really self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's through Sursage, and we got the bids, and Tom's okay with them, so.
Yep.
Do they drop it off? Because I know there was a pickup cost and a delivered cost. Do you know if they?
I don't, I think Tom calls them, they pick it up.
So my only question is, I don't know what Eastern Minerals is versus Morton Salt. Are they both kind of geographically in roughly the same area? Because that might make a
Yeah.
difference too, you
Yeah.
know, if he has to go pick it up. But either way, the highway superintendent recommends.
Right.
Okay. Make a motion to approve his recommendation as presented.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Job posting and description for the administrative position, Board of Health.
Through the chair, based on our discussions
Let's
previously, I request that you table it.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to a table.
Second?
Motion has been made to table and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Release the Selectmen's executive session minutes of July 23rd and August 13th, both of 2025.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Yeah, okay. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
A surplus equipment for disposal from the planning board. Just getting rid of these monitors for both them and the ZBA, which is one and the same, I believe, same monitor.
I believe they're individual monitors.
Are they? Well, it's the same secretary for both. That's why I thought maybe,
Okay.
It looks like the same serial number too.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
So I'll make a motion to dispose of the surplus equipment for planning and zoning.
I'll second that.
motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the warrants.
Hopefully I don't have to repeat these, because we got a few here.
Okay. Yeah.
Warrants paid by September 18th, 2025. 12A26 for $141,194.35. 12B-26 for $167,058.03. 12C26 for $580.05. Warrants paid by September 25th, 2025. 13A26 for $135,106.22. 13B-26 for $166,057.19. And warrants paid by October 2nd, 2025. 14A26 for $124,066.69. 14B26 for $518,385.32. And 14C26 for $164,603.50.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
There is no correspondence this week, and then the minutes we're going to table.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Motion has been made and seconded to table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Last of the public inputs. Anybody? No?
Public input? Oh, okay.
Then motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you, Dave.